Welcome to Nerdarchy. For nerds, by nerds. I'm Nerdicus Dave, and tonight I'm joined by this nerd.
Nerdarchy Ted. Today we're diving into what really defines a hero in the worlds we build. Spoiler alert, it's not always about alignment or power level. Without further ado, let's dive into Aether Skies for what makes a hero. In Aether Skies, floating cities, arcane tech, and the cursed surface below, heroism here is shadowed by skyborne politics and ancient evils.
When secrets and storms threaten to tear skyships apart, who steps up? The commander holding the line, or the mooter who saves the many by defying orders?
All right, so let's dive into some more detail. Skyship captains choosing between their crew and the greater good. How does this make a hero?
Well, so here's the thing, right? What in our own Aether Skies game that we're currently running on the channel, session 3 will be live tomorrow night. That particular Captain Raz has already stated the most important thing to them is their ship and their crew, right? So for them, they might forsake the greater good for the crew because that is their personal greater good.
Yeah, and that's the cool part, because like the character, even though like we're only on session 3, there's backstory there. He's lost crew. So like that backstory influences the decisions that are going to be made. The same holds true for the other characters. We're all high enough level that some stuff is already unfolded. Some stuff is there to unpack. And how is that going to influence the decisions, as well as the setting, a typical fantasy world where the lines between good and evil are easy enough to see and to draw and be like, okay, this side is good, that side is evil. Now you have to look at machinations. You have to look at all of these things that are going on to realize that, okay, what on the surface could be a good idea actually is going to have these landslide of evil things that are going to come out of it. Whereas the thing that might look harsh is actually the better thing to do for being a good person.
That's true too. And like the flip side of the captain that chooses their crew over everything else is the captain that chooses to sacrifice possibly themselves and their crew, or whatever they perceive the greater good is. In Aether Skies, it might be your particular city. It might be all of the cities, right? It may be everyone in the air. They may decide that that's more important. But in your own particular world where you're playing, right, you can take that and you can extrapolate, right? Like the captain or commander that chooses their nation over the forces that they lead, willing to sacrifice themselves to the last man in order to protect the nation, the realm, the kingdom, king, God, whatever it is that they perceive to be that greater good. But that opens up other questions, right? Would their crew or their soldiers willingly do this? Is this a thing that they would agree to, or is this commanding officer going to be making the choice for them, right? Or perhaps they're not particularly going to sacrifice themselves, but they're willing to sacrifice their crew as well for a hero in these particular instances. Or also it could be the captain that sacrifices themselves in order to let their crew escape, let their soldiers escape, the people that are under them in a heroic last stand, which we've had that happen in several of our games in the past. Like, especially if a player is leaving our games and we know like it's a planned thing. How do you want your character to exit this campaign, right? Do they want to have a heroic last stand, which our first 5e D&D campaign that I ran in the Gryffindor campaign, Bloodfang, the player was moving away and this was going to be their last session. And I'm like, well, what do you want to do? Do you want it to be a normal session, or do you want to like kind of go out with a bang or do something special, right? So these can also be opportunities for us to have these great role-playing moments in the game as we define heroics for a particular character on a small scale or the large scale. In that case, he got to do the thing where he holds the bridge while the rest of the crew, or in this case, the rest of the adventuring party, are escaping because they like set a bunch of explosives to go off.
It's something that many D&D players strive for. They want to see those moments. They want to have that opportunity for their characters. I've had players reach out to me and say, hey, look, can you put something in the final session for the campaign so that my character has the opportunity to die gloriously? I don't want a narrative retirement scene. I don't want to look wistfully off to the mountains or walk peacefully away from everybody else. I want a glorious death. And one of the characters in my 5e games did that. And he was given an opportunity to offer himself up to protect the party. He died gloriously and his character was obliterated. No chance of coming back.
And so that's one way of doing it. But how about reluctant heroes who carry forbidden relics to safety? I mean, right off the bat, that just screams the One Ring and the Fellowship, right? And in our world, this world, Aether Skies, there is a lot of forbidden relics and things that have dark ties to them. And truly, the challenge for the heroes is not just carrying these forbidden relics to safety and getting them away from the forces of evil, darkness, the villains, whatever, but also, will they have the strength to not use them as well?
Yep, it's a tough situation. Relics are something that is a great make or break game. They have the capabilities to do amazing things, but they're absolutely the ability to, just like the One Ring, be utterly treacherous and deceitful. It's an item, but sure, it can change the very fabric of the game. I mean, we've seen magic items, large and small, greatly change characters and their story arcs over decades of playing this game. So, let alone a relic, which is meant to be something that could be a magic item or just an item of importance to the world.
It could truly be heroic for a character to receive like this great and powerful item, and maybe they even use it for a little bit, right? And that's not the heroic or awesome part. It's when they choose to set it aside and put it down, right? When they realize the power of the temptation is too great, and if they keep using it, they're going to become that which they seek to destroy or defeat, right? Basically, Brahmamir in the Fellowship, right? When he tries to take the ring by force, and then only when he's passing from this world to the next does he realize the folly of his ways and how wrong he was. Spoilers, sorry if anyone hasn't seen that before. Right?
Yeah, Boromir is a great example of characters who are around a relic. And sure, he was tempted for a time and he was able to see what's there. And given the true choice, he was able to sacrifice himself so that the other characters could get away. And that kind of dovetails back into that first example of the sacrifice, of making the greater good by you leaving the world. All right, so characters who defy the Aether to save a city. Now, if you're not exactly familiar with the Aether, it's kind of right in the name. It's our version of the Illuminati, the secret organization that kind of like lurks in the shadows and has its own puppet strings all over the place. And it's kind of a central organization that exists throughout, if not all the cities, at least the majority of them.
Yeah, and for ultimately, as far as everyone's concerned, so far that's dealt with them, they're working towards the greater good. They are there to preserve the world and protect the cities. And where in this particular world, the cities are very xenophobic and don't work together, the Eternati are there to fill that gap, to make sure when cooperation's needed, it can be mustered, even if they have to do it themselves. Now, for the most part, characters are probably going to want to go along with them. But what if the Eternati or whatever secret society that you're using in your games, they come to the calculation that certain losses are acceptable. These casualties, while unfortunate, are necessary for the greater good. What do your characters do? Do they defy that because they don't believe that that's the right thing to do? That perhaps there's another way to get the same results that they're seeking without sacrificing those who probably are innocents and not even aware of this particular danger, but the powers that be have decided that it's okay in order to see their machinations through and their ultimate goal. But at the end of the day, the heroes are going to have to decide, do they go through with the plan and these are acceptable casualties, or do they defy their orders and save as many people as they can?
The great thing, in my opinion, about the using the Eternati or any kind of secret organization is across movies, books, TV shows, and everything. Every time you've got a secret organization, the aspect of secret is what holds true. and they love to hoard their secrets, which means they're never going to tell you all the information. They're never going to reveal the whole plan. They're going to give you just enough so that you have an idea of what your mission is. And they might send you off and like, okay, you're going to go do this thing here, knowing full well that you're going to do your piece, but you're probably going to die. And they're okay with that because your piece of the puzzle is what is going to keep the world spinning or, keep the evil at bay and that kind of example. Because even though we've played this game for a long time, we haven't done a whole lot with secret organizations. So getting to toy around and play around with these things where you can have these mysterious figures that are in essence, like they're considered more powerful than you. You don't defy these organizations and remain a part of them. You either leave and go do your own thing, and then you may or may not be hunted down by them, or you do what you're told because it's what you have to do. But it does create these crux moments, these moments that are character and campaign defining when you have this decision of, do you follow orders or do you not?
Yeah, it definitely creates there's a great tension and more dilemmas for the characters and in the world and the players at the gaming table. I always love giving my players those tough choices, or even after the fact, letting them do what they're going to do and then see the moral consequences of their actions. And there's ways you can do this without punishing your players. Because if you do it right, they'll punish themselves, to be honest with you.
You tempted me Saturday night. We were playing our game, and we basically freed a pit fiend from his prison. And you're pretty much either going to serve me or die. Now, we're high-level characters. I really didn't think it was going to be, we're going to die here. A little bit of overconfidence with this particular party. But you tossed out that, hey, anybody want a free warlock level? And playing a sorcerer with a 21 charisma, I didn't get to the point to ask, but I'm like, would this be outside the realm of leveling up, or would this be just a complete and utter freebie? But I debated.
Sorcerers with a 21 charisma is pretty sexy. Even sexier is a sorcerer warlock with a 21 charisma.
So I seriously did debate that decision, but ultimately I'm like, I don't think Dave's just going to give me a free level. And am I going to force that decision upon everybody else? I'm like, well, I'll take the level, but if it forces I don't get to go to 20th level in Sorcerer, I would be upset. So I let it go.
Not sure where it would have went. I might have given you guys the free level. I mean, the price would have been unleash a pit fiend on the city, but what's one more fiend in the fold?
So we might have added more trouble into our mix. We'll see what happens, but we won.
Would your character risk being branded a traitor if it meant saving an entire city?
Thanks for exploring the gray areas of heroism with us, where sacrifice, shadow, and survival collide.
Like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss a single video. And until next time, stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.